Hey guys, Jim Edwards here along with,
Stu Smith.
and today we're talking about listicles and I didn't do the right intro. Welcome to the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks Podcast. Yay! I don't know what episode this is, but we're in double digits, so praise the Lord.
13.
It up.
Lucky
Okay.
number 13.
So today we're talking about listicles, and no, this is not something you need to have examined by a urologist, right, Stu? Listicles.
I was almost made a joke about it, but you beat me to it.
That's right. No fungus on your listicles today. So what exactly is a listicle? Well, this is some sort of millennial made up word for a list article.
Yeah,
but
that's what I call them.
Yeah, that's what I call them too, because I don't need to feel cool about
Top
using
10 articles.
something.
There you go.
Yeah, it slides so trippingly off the tongue, those listicles do. But hey, I don't judge. So here's the thing. Why do people love list articles? And when we talk about list articles, like, give a couple of examples of list article stuff like that you do, Stu. What would be a list article?
I would say, top 10 reasons why you need to do something, top 5 ways to build something,
3 steps to
3 steps,
specific result,
right?
7 mistakes, 7 fatal mistakes.
There you go.
In whatever area. Another one that people love are like my top 10 resources for this, the 7 best apps for that. I wonder, people have list books. What do you call those? List of books? Listle books? Libels? Libels?
I don't know, man.
Listables? List hooks? I'll have to work on that. But the thing is, people love lists. And the reason I think they love lists is because lists, you're looking for that hidden jewel. We're looking for the little treasure map. We say, you know what, if there's 10 of these that help get this result, then maybe there's one I've never heard of, or there's one that is going to be the thing that I've been looking for, or it's, let me see if I'm super smart and if I know these steps, or let me make sure I'm not an idiot and I'm not making any of these mistakes. It's just, lists are cool and people love them. What do you think, Stu? Why do
they're
people?
Cool, and they're easy to read, right? And they're easy to write as well.
That is true.
I think as a writer, when I have a list article on my mind, I'm like, oh man, I'll have 1,000 words, real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to think too deeply about any one particular topic on it. If you think about it, if let's say it's your top 10 of anything, well, it's pretty much the title of whatever it is, whether the title of the mistake, the title of the resource, and then it's a who, what, how type setup where it's a couple, 3 sentences, and then you're on to the next one. I mean, those are the ones that you can do super, super fast. And when I was in the newspaper business, I was thinking of your dad, when I was in the newspaper business, when I was a syndicated newspaper columnist, back in the day when people actually read paper newspapers, the highest compliment that you could be paid as a columnist was a refrigerator article, where people liked your article so much that they would clip it out of the paper and put it on the refrigerator or put it on their bulletin board because they wanted to refer back to it. And that was really the ultimate way that I could gauge the success of an article, was how many people said, hey, I love that, I put it on my refrigerator. Now, again, this is back before the turn of the century, back when we did stuff with crayons, and
back in 1900.
Yeah, back in the 1900s, with torches on the walls and stuff. But that list articles are super cool for that. So you were telling me before we got started, and I always love when Stu does this. We're talking about the episode, and Stu's like, yeah, the other day I was doing this and that and that and that and this, and he gives all these great details and shit. And then when we get on the thing, he said, yeah, I did this list article yesterday, I put on Facebook. It worked out pretty good. I'm like, dude, just be quiet. Tell me. Jump to the end. So what were you talking? What were you going to tell me about something you did yesterday or the day before?
No, I just use crowdsourcing is a great way to get content.
What do you mean?
And you don't necessarily have to ask a question, but you can say, hey, I'm doing a top 10 list. of products that I use for recovery. You know,
Mhm.
what's your favorite, right? And just then you just gather information, and then you have, you pick these 10 products that people are using, and maybe, pepper them with another question like, why do you like this product? What's it do for you? Right? Like, what injuries are you recovering from when you use it? And things like
Right.
that.
And
And
you can
then
do that in the comments.
right in the comment section, and then you create this conversation about recovery that really is, your article has just been created for you.
Yeah.
So
Or at least the hard part has been.
yeah.
And the cool thing that you can do when you do one of those articles is make sure you either the first and it's kind of a ninja trick. The first and or the 10th and somewhere in between might be a resource of yours, so that you're listing all these things that people are cool and including yourself in the list in some
Oh
kind of
yeah.
way, because you want
Yeah.
to make sure that you're part of it. And then these things really lend themselves to the granddaddy of sales copy jujitsu moves, which is when you get to the end of the article, we'll use Stu's example for recovery. By the way, if you would like to know more about the #1 book that tactical athletes over 40 are raving about for recovery, you need to check out my newly revised tactical recovery for athletes over 40, whatever the name
Right.
is,
Right.
available here. In fact, use the coupons code recovery and get an extra $10 off or 50% off or whatever. And that's
Excellent.
like the ultimate move, because
Yeah.
they read that and then they go, oh yeah, Stu's got a book on that. I don't have that yet. And he's going to give me 50% off, but it's only good through tomorrow. Holy crap. Let me drop everything I'm doing and go buy that sucker right now. And everyone needs to go over to StuSmithFitness.com, especially if you're over 40 and you feel like crap.
All right. Hey, real quick, let's talk about the lists that are annoying, right? You ever get on one of those lists, right? Because this is real, right? You
A
ever get on one
list
of those
that's
lists?
annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
give me
you
an
go
example.
online,
Yeah.
and you might have like, you know, hundreds, whatever, like celebrities who before and after, right?
Oh, those clickbait
Oh my
articles.
God, they're horrible. And like
Yeah,
it
you have
takes
to
you like
click.
20 clicks to like
Yeah.
see the person you want to see,
I want to
right?
see what Claudia Schiffer looks like in a bikini now. Oh,
Right, so
yeah.
yeah, they're exactly clickbait articles. So I would have personally would avoid, when you do a top 10 list, to I mean, there's a reason why people do them. They probably work, but
Well, it's to get ad views and
yeah.
stuff like
So
that.
I mean, it's easier to read if you just have a straight list on one page.
Right.
But an option is to create, a list with 10 pages, right,
Right.
that have pictures and video, and so you can really expand these things to
Right.
as big or as small as you want.
And here's the thing. Here's something to think about. Okay. I'm going to draw this out with my amazing redneck iPad. But let's say you have your list of 5 or 10 things. Okay. Let's say this is on your blog. All right. I know nobody talks about blogs anymore, but then you could take each one of those items and turn it into a mini blog post, a mini social media post, and then create a little mini post out of each one.
Mm-hmm.
And then each one of those points to the blog post. So all of a sudden you create 10 things that are magnets over to your blog post or wherever you have the thing done. And that's one of the things that I like to do with list articles. And it's really easy. I mean, you can get a good week's worth of content out of a single article when you do it this way,
Sure.
because you can also, just like what Stu says, one might be a meme, one might be text, one might be a video, one might be a what do you call those graphics? An explainer graphic.
Infographics.
Infographic. You could even do an explainer video type of thing. And so it's not the same thing. It's not like you just take that text and paste it in saying, if you want the rest of the story, go here. You could make a meme and then say, hey, for the top 10, you do a text version of one of them. So you have all these different things that you could do that you're turning this list into. And it makes it a lot easier for you to leverage that, especially if your time is really constrained. It's a great way to really leverage that thing and get a lot of mileage out of it super, super fast. And then the other cool thing that you can do is as you create a collection of these listicles, not testicles, because nobody wants to take a list of tests. So seriously though, would a list of tests be a testicles? I'm just curious. An article about tests be a testicles? Just curious.
Well, you know what? I could do that. Yeah, I could write
Okay,
about
cool.
all the different fitness tests that the military uses,
Yeah,
and
read this testicle I just
I
made.
could call it a testicle.
Yeah, and if you start coughing during one of these tests, that's an indication of your physical fitness. Dude, this is amazing, this brainstorming. So the big thing though is each one of those things leads to the article, and then the thing to remember is that article, and I didn't draw it but that article always leads to some sort of a call to action that makes you some money. People can sign up for something, they can buy something, they can click through to something. Absolutely, you want to do that, and something, and this is a lot more ninja, but this is something else you can do. We haven't talked about retargeting, but we will in the future. If you had a pixel on this page, all these people who click through to this article, you can then retarget them with ads related to your call to action, because you know somebody who's interested in listicles. This listicle is probably interested in your thing, but you're given value, content, and then all of a sudden they see an ad and you know they're interested in that. You can get a lot higher response rate. So here, let me not be rude. Sorry about that. Thought I had it on do not disturb, and I did, but those damn robocalls, for whatever reason, can make it past. You're not the only one. Robocalls can make it past do not disturb.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the biggest thing. If you were going to sit down and write a listicle, Stu, what would you do? And we'll just kind of end with that. Mechanically, how would you do it, and how long do you think it would take you?
Well, I would come up with just a general idea. Like I was really thinking about doing this one today, right?
Okay.
What I was going to do today is what are some 5 foods that aid in recovery,
Okay.
right? And then I was just going to say, hey, I was going on social media on my Facebook page, or maybe even ask on my Instagram live today, and just say, hey, what kind of food you got? Here's what I do for recovery. What are you guys doing? Right. So I give them a little information on what I'm doing, and then I take what they're doing and continue my list and just come up with 5 good sources of food, maybe even a little bit of information on how to prepare it, and then, try it
How do you
out, see how you
decide
feel.
what makes the cut for the list? How do you decide?
Good question. I would probably, with its food, I would probably only post the types of food that I eat personally or
Okay.
like. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody to eat something that I don't like to eat because I don't have enough knowledge on that food that I would feel like I could write about it. Right. So I tend to write about things I use,
Okay.
and people know that when they read my stuff. So I will either use it, I will eat it, I will, um, sell it, whatever that is. If I'm talking about it, I have used it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I've used that. The funny thing is, once you kind of get in the habit of having a conversation with your social media friends or your subscribers and email and things like that, it's actually really easy to get them to share information with you. And then you actually get a certain level of ownership where people contribute, and then, or they see others contributing, and then they want to see the ultimate article. So it's a good 1-2 punch of getting that involvement and then saying, hey, I took this and wrote this article, I hope you guys like it, what do you think? And that's a way, again, to get more mileage without having to create more content, if that makes sense, because you have multiple interactions. You have the interaction of the first post of, hey, this is what I do, what's your favorite thing? You can respond to people inside of the comments and stuff, even if it's just little bits, but you're having that ping with people, and then you come out with the new article, and then you can link the article in the comments of the other one, and then start a whole new thread of conversation there too, and then share it on your blog and stuff. And I think, excuse me, that everybody kind of gets in this mindset of we have to create new content and new content and new content, and they don't maximize the existing content very well at all. And so I think there are some people that take that to major extreme, that they maximize a single article so much people are like, okay, we kind of get the message.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But most of us don't do that. I don't, well, this thing that I drew out here is perfectly fine. And if you create a bunch of these and then they work really well, compile them into a book.
That's really exactly what I did. I did the same thing with, hey, I'm doing a motivation article. What motivates you to train? Right. Yep. I asked that question and I put my answer. I said, here's why I train every day. Right. And so I got so much, I was able to write a top 10 list, but then it kept growing and kept growing. And I actually wrote a book on the top 100 reasons to train. And it's a fun little ebook, right?
Sure.
And, I actually get it.
And it makes money.
And people still buy
Here's an example of a book that my sister wrote. It's called App Maven's Favorite Productivity Tools. And they're basically, it's lists of apps for for iPhone, but also with alternatives for whatever the other thing is that people do. And this is a book that she sells a crap ton of, and she sells these by the box. She's not selling them individually. Companies buy these by the box. And it's I mean, you see, it's done like old Playboy magazine, man. It had the staples in the middle. It's in perfect bound, and she kills it with this thing.
Oh, nice.
And just a book of lists of apps, but they're apps for a specific purpose. That's the biggest thing. You got to have a tight, popular, important theme with your listicles.
Absolutely.
If you just have random listicles, then you're going to get random results. Nobody wants a random listicle. Sounds painful.
Yes.
So anyway, I think that's cool. I would just encourage everybody, if you're not a member of the Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks Facebook group, you need to be. And you can join that by going to thejimedwardsmethod.com/group. Click on the link, request membership, and we will probably let you in unless you're holding like a butcher knife and a severed head. And then again, we may let you in.
Yeah, you know what? In fact, I'm going to challenge you guys, if you're listening to this still. I want you to write a list article and share it in our Facebook page.
There you go.
How about that?
You are allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, paste the whole art. Don't send a link and go check out my article. Post your whole article in the Facebook group.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Go write that listicle.